just feel like I need to come on here and really show what it's like trying to survive as a single income family. Okay, we live in Nebraska. I can't work because I can't afford childcare. Childcare is gonna cost more for my 3 kids than what I'm gonna make a month. Everything I've looked at, $3,000 a month for my 3 kids to go to daycare. I'd be lucky to make $2,500 a month, and that's pushing it. We can't afford our rent. Thank God that we have landlords that are extremely understanding, but how are we doing this? Literally, my husband's next paycheck and what we have in the bank right now is gonna go to rent, and it's gonna leave us with literally zero. How are we doing this? What happened to our world?
Well, let me take a step back and let's analyze what happened to your world, not our world, your world, meaning this specific TikToker. All right. So let's start with the obvious, shall we, fam? 22 years old with 3 kids. I can cross that one off the list. If you want a surefire way to make sure you are going to be set either for poverty, hard life, lots of tears, possibly putting it on social media. I wouldn't do that, but I get you. Some of you got to let it out there. You know, TikTok is the comfort couch of your psychiatric care. Okay, whatever. I can pretty much assure you in today's day and age, have 3 kids by the time you are 22, you are looking at real life a hardship unless you and your spouse makes a significant amount of money. Now, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Okay, fam? She is married. This appears to be the couple of the 3 kids. I'm just going to go assume with that. And even if they weren't, he took on this, father, the step role of being a stepdad. Great. Okay. But let's just go with the assumption that this is the husband, wife of the 3 kids. We cannot reach back into the olden days and go, well, now when my great grandparents were raising kids, okay, they could have 10 kids. There would be no problem. Yeah, because they were harvesting apples in the fall. They had no social media to disrupt their life, no social media bills to pay. Okay. And their whole life from sun up to sundown was pretty much working the crop, some sort of trade. And there we go. Today, having 3 kids at 22 can be financially disastrous. And I would say for most people it is. So let's look at the realities of it. She started procreating at the very latest 19 years old, assuming we are not talking twins or triplets here. So just as she got her high school diploma, I'm sure she has one. She said, hey, you know what? I think now's a good time to be a mom at 19. Let's do it again at 20. Let's do it again at 21. You see where the problem is. So and you get the TikTokers and they say things like, the economy is so horrible. It's awful. How are people surviving? Because they don't have more kids than what they can afford. They make sure they are financially established. The pleasures of the flesh have gotten many people into financial trouble they need not get into. And again, I'm giving credit where credit is due. This appears to be a woman who is married to the father of the children. Again, that is wonderful. But here's the thing. She says here her childcare, $3,000 a month. Do people not sit down and look at the child care bill before they choose to have 1, 2, 3 kids? And again, knocking out 3 kids by the age of 22. Hell, at 22 years old, I was busy going bankrupt. And that's going to go bankrupt again 10 years after that in my early 30s. I was too busy playing the bankruptcy game to have any time for, pleasures of the flesh where I can have 3 kids by the age of 22. Now, I'm not downplaying and being sarcastic about it. Kind of sorry, sort of sorry, not sorry. But this was all avoidable. This whole let's sit on TikTok, cry and bawl, completely avoidable. See, I can understand someone who is sick, and I know I have some viewers who have been undergoing some extensive medical stuff, and this channel and my thoughts are clearly with you. And there are only like 2, 3 of you that have told me my heart is clearly with you. These are things that cannot be avoided. These are things that people are forced to go through medically. Okay, I'm forced to go through with bad knees, things like that. Choosing to have 3 kids at the age of 22, that is all voluntary. It is 100% voluntary. And don't guys, stop these stories of, well, the birth control didn't work for me. Birth control has 99.9% chance, if not higher, of working. And you are telling me that all the people on TikTok, because I've heard a few of them, oh, well, we tried and there's the kid. Why is it everybody on TikTok crying over being a single parent? Not, again, she's not single, but work with me for a second, okay? All these kids, more so that they can't afford, are crying. Birth control does exist. You have more control over your family planning than you've ever had in your entire life, and you even, in many cases, have the government to help back it up. Okay, not saying that's the choice you have to make. I'm just saying it is an option to keep you from crying at 22 years old because you got 3 kids. Also, why is she and her husband not working more hours? She said her husband works. She doesn't say what he does, but she says her income $2,500 a month. See, the way they need to have it is she needs to work more hours, get that income up, and let all of that go to childcare. Husband needs to work more hours, get his income up, and let that be used to support the household. Hey, I'm not saying it's pretty. I'm not saying it's desirable. I'm not even saying I'd want it. But before you pop out 3 kids this day and age of social media, there's absolutely no excuse to sit and say you did not know what the child care bill was in your area. The child care bill does not change just because you chose to go ahead, start your family really young, ignore the actual bills. It's just kind of like having a student loan and running that bill up for a ridiculous amount. Hey, I did the same thing till mine was forgiven in 2022, as you know, for $110K. We can't live in denial. We cannot do the things that make us happy, that make us, I want to be a mom. I want to be a graduate of such and such degree, and I'm just going to ignore the bill and I will deal with it afterwards. This is a voluntary situation that she and her husband are in. She said she may be losing her house. Guess what? I've lost my house too. And don't be out here. Hopefully she ain't dry begging, looking for help. Hey, you know what? Sometimes we just have to lose the car. We have to lose the house. We have to go into the bankruptcies. It is what it is. And mine was voluntary too, just like I was saying. I tell you, it's a two-way street on this channel, okay? My bankruptcy is totally voluntary. I did not have to have them. Did not. I could have spent better. I could have been smarter.
A 22-year-old mom who's currently worried about losing her house and her goal. I'm not trying to make my kids homeless. I have family that is going to help us in any way possible, and I'm more than thankful for that. But what are we doing? How are we living? How are we surviving?
There's this girl at work who's about to get fired.
Before we start on this is a 2-part video. And the part that went viral, so to speak, is the second part, which I will show you here. This is the first part. She is a consultant in a position that is supposed to basically keep company secrets. Guess what she did?
As the IT manager, I always know about any onboards or offboards before they happen because they want to make sure that I revoke access to their emails, and they want me to make sure that they're locked out of certain things so that nobody who's getting fired can go back and shoot a company-wide email or anything like that. I can prepare their computer and their access and so on and so forth. So my boss and the HR lady have been telling me we have an offboard coming up and this is super confidential. Nobody can know about this. And they keep saying that it's confidential. And I found out that the girl that they're firing, she's a really sweet girl. She just got a raise. She just got promoted. She does a great job at work. Normally, when it comes to affairs of onboards and offboards, I don't get involved. But this particular employee that they're about to fire, she's such a sweet girl. And I've had many interactions with her. She recently got married and she recently got a raise. So I know that it's not because of her performance. I felt like something else is beneath the surface. Y'all, I feel like God put it on my heart to tell the girl that she's about to get fired. So I text the girl. I tell her, you're about to get fired and they're about to do it on Tuesday. I already have your replacement. They want me to prep your computer for that replacement. And she kept on asking me, do you know why they're firing me? I'm like, I don't know. I don't get any of that information.
A few moments later.
I got fired. They finally found the video. They found the video. So, y'all know I had to come back and tell you what happened. Today's June 16th. I posted that video on May 25th. 3 weeks later, my employer, they found the video. So, I went into work today. Everything was very normal. I helped the finance department set up their check scanner. While I was doing that, I had a couple of the executives come over to me and they were asking for help with this or asking for help with that. The finance guy that I was helping, he was like, oh wow, you're popular today. And I was like, I don't know what's up with that. I don't think anything of it. I'm just going about my merry little business. One of the executives asked if I could make his laptop a personal laptop and remove it from the domain of the company that I work for, that I'm contracted by. So I have to run it by my boss. I had to go and ask her for permission. She was like, oh yeah, he's an executive. He gets whatever he wants. She gave me the approval. I went, I did the laptop. I gave it to the executive, and that was that. 30 minutes after that interaction, I went to go look at my email. I couldn't get in. My email wasn't working. My password wasn't working. And I immediately thought, okay, I'm being offboarded. This is me being offboarded. They found the video. I called the company that I have the contract through, and I'm like, hey, I just want to know, am I being offboarded? They do not want you to come back to the site. And I said, is this about the TikTok videos? And he said, yes. Haters, your girl was finally caught. I knew it was a possibility, so I'm not blindsided by this. I didn't have anybody to give me a heads up, unfortunately. How ironic is that?
She is an absolute idiot. She is not responsible enough to be put in that position of trust. Now, for those who may have been multitasking, her job in essence is to help people set up their computers or to take away their computer privileges based on their company status, that they're being hired or fired. She is not to tell people in advance, because clearly, and I understand why companies do it in advance, they don't want to tell you, at least the smart companies, they typically won't tell you, and then have you come back to work and try to either steal company secrets or just forget even stealing it. You just simply try to mess up the programs. And so because she was, very soft and kind-hearted, which is a humane thing towards somebody who she felt shouldn't be fired, she decides to make herself a martyr and blow everything about her credibility so no company will ever hire her again in an area of security. Jesus, talk about stupid. Absolutely stupid. Because you see, guys, when you she says at the beginning, up to this next clip, she goes, oh, I just have to give you the update of my firing. You learn nothing from just the fact that they fired you for making the first video talking about how you were kind-hearted and you didn't want this girl to get fired, because after all, she just got married and she should have been fired. And I'm going to agree with her on that. She probably shouldn't have been. And she had just gotten a raise. I get it. And I get how nasty, the world of corporate can be. Why do you think I stepped out of it? That's why I stepped out of corporate in my early 30s. I really want nothing to do with it. So she didn't learn from that. Then she gets back on the computer to give us the dirt. Oh, and what did she teach us? The executive. So we now know, which I assume would be secret, that the executive's computer was connected to the company, but now we know the executive computer is no longer connected to the company. Hackers, anybody? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying hack. But what I am saying is she is too immature to really understand how serious her position is. And I'll be honest, looking at her, I don't know how old she is, but she looks like she's in her 20s. She could even be in her 30s. I'm going to put her somewhere in her 20s, but her giggling and cackling, ha, 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 look at me. They found me. They found your girl. The haters found me. No, you did this to yourself. There is no hate that isn't deserved in this case. None. This, again, all self-inflicted, just like with that first woman, 22 kids at the age of 3. This is all self-inflicted. She sits there and she tells you the process. It doesn't matter if we don't know who the executive is. Somebody knows who she is. Somebody knows where she works at. Talk about killing your career off before your career has even started. This, young people, is how you do it. Who wants to hire her? Who wants to hire her in a position of trust and authority? We have to think before we make videos like this.
One of my old jobs, I have a 401k. They're about to start messing with your retirement. Talk to your accountant or whatever the case to figure out how to get your money pulled out, right? Just on the withdrawal, I lost $5,000. I lost $5,000. Been sending me this notice. Big bold print. This is my amount. Cool. So time for me to go ahead and withdraw. Oh no, look at the small print. We're going to knock off several thousand off the top. And then on the transfer, they take 1%. And then California takes 1%. And then to top it all off, these jokers sent me a tax notice. I'm going to have to pay taxes on it. That's my money. You gave me a whole booklet. and explain to me if I sign up for this, I get X amount of this, and then you send me the notice, I get this, and then you're like, no, gotcha. You conned me.